While the US government continues to spend billions on supporting Ukraine in its war efforts, the impact of these decisions is felt far beyond the borders of the conflict. Millions of Americans are facing serious challenges at home, struggling to make ends meet and secure basic necessities. From homelessness to rising costs of living, the economic strain is becoming increasingly unbearable for many. It raises a critical question. Are the current financial priorities of the government truly in the best interest of its citizens? As families gather around their kitchen tables, discussing how to stretch their budgets, and communities come together to voice their concerns, the debate intensifies. Is this financial priority the right choice when so many citizens are struggling? The answer remains complex and deeply personal for each affected individual. Since the start of the conflict in Ukraine, the U.S. has provided over $100 billion in military, humanitarian, and economic aid. This aid aims to support Ukraine's defense and stability, but it's a massive financial commitment that some argue could be better allocated toward domestic issues. Back home, there are over 500,000 homeless people in the United States, with millions more living paycheck to paycheck. Essential services like healthcare, education, and housing are underfunded, leaving many Americans questioning why such vast resources are being sent overseas. One of the groups most impacted are those identified as SDF, sans domicile fixe, or homeless. These individuals often find themselves on the fringes of society, struggling to survive day by day, and those living in extreme poverty. Many of these people live in rundown neighborhoods, where opportunities are scarce and hope is a rare commodity. These citizens often struggle to get basic necessities like food and shelter. Food banks and shelters are their lifelines, but resources are limited and the demand is ever growing. Critics argue that redirecting some of the funds currently being sent to Ukraine could dramatically improve conditions for those most in need. Advocates believe that with better allocation of resources, we could provide more comprehensive support systems to help these forgotten Americans rebuild their lives. While the U.S. government sees support for Ukraine as crucial to global stability and democracy, they argue that aiding Ukraine helps to maintain international order and deters aggression from other nations. This in turn is believed to protect American interests abroad and uphold the values of freedom and human rights. However, critics believe that these funds should first be used to help the country's most vulnerable populations. They argue that the billions spent on foreign aid could instead be directed towards addressing pressing domestic issues such as homelessness, poverty, and healthcare. What do you think? Should America focus more on its own issues before spending billions on foreign conflicts? This debate continues to spark intense discussions among policymakers and citizens alike, reflecting the complex balance between international responsibilities and domestic needs. As Americans continue to suffer from poverty, homelessness, and a lack of resources, is it justifiable for the U.S. to allocate so much money toward the Ukraine war? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Search the news.